worrying about why a shot is missing in a game is almost, I don't want to say it's not important, because obviously it is, but it's like a second priority. Your number one priority should be thinking, even if, like, you'll get people that say, well, you're just going to play junk table tennis or exploit things to win. That's not real table tennis, but that's literally what table tennis is all about, up to the professional level. And the number one thing on your mind shouldn't be technique. It should be, what can I do to exploit something to get the absolute, not the second best, not the third best, but the best and easiest opportunity to win a point. Because you don't want to have to play difficult points to win. You want to try and win in the easiest way possible, to where you didn't even feel like you broke a sweat. And make people prove that they can challenge you before you start having to play these difficult shots. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Louie here, and welcome to a brand new VOD review. Before we get started, I just want to make a quick announcement. There are 10 people in the queue for match reviews right now, which is a lot considering that I upload maybe once a week or so, sometimes twice a week. So I just want to again reiterate to anybody in the queue, because like to get to this it might take 2 months or so. If by the time I'm at your match and you're like number one in the queue, you actually have a more recent match you'd like me to review instead, feel free to edit your submission and swap that out, and it's not going to change your place in queue and it's not going to penalize you, so you're more than welcome to do that to ensure that I'm reviewing your most recent playing footage, or I guess you at your most recent playing standard. But with that out of the way, we're going to be looking at Tank the Shredder Evans, and this is his first submission, and he is using Glazer on the forehand and on the backhand with a Timo Boll ALC. Solid setup, absolutely no complaints from me there. 1253 on the Australian rating scale, and I'm not 100% sure how that translates to US ATT ratings, but I guess we will see with the footage. Goals and context: I have been playing Pennant since late 2019 and feel like I have been steadily trending upward in ability and rating over the years. Consider myself pretty well rounded in terms of style, but tend to play better when the game is fast and topspin oriented. I offer coaching to other players at my club, and I try to train whenever I get the chance, so I believe I have a solid understanding of the game and what high-level good table tennis should look like. However, executing those skills consistently is a different story. Lack of consistency is probably my greatest frustration at the moment, as I tend to overhit the ball a lot. I know there are plenty of things I need to improve in my game, including footwork, stroke technique, serving with greater spin and variation, etc. But I'm unsure what to prioritize in training, as there are so many aspects I'm trying to fix up. If you could let me know what the top priority should be in terms of improving, instead of trying to fix everything at once, that's valid, and suggest some drills to specifically target whatever it is, that would be awesome. I can beat players around the 1500 rating, and have done so occasionally while I'm playing well, but I also lose to lower rated players. My goal is to reach 1500, but sooner than that, I'd like to be more consistent in my gameplay. 1 to 2 training sessions a week with similarly rated players, 1 coaching session where I coach a slightly lower rated player, and 2 competition nights a week. This is you against another 1200 younger guy with the purple collar. Won the first game and then lost composure more and more as the games went on before losing 1-3. He uses long pimples with no sponge on the backhand. I don't believe I lost because of these though. Most of my points were due to overhitting and poor form. I feel these sort of losses are very typical for me, which is why I'm happy to send a non-winning game. Okay, sounds good. Let's go ahead and take a look. To everybody watching at home, I hope you enjoy the video. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started. Our protagonist is the player on the close side of the table to us, and I'm gonna watch for a little bit just to get a feel, and then I will give some comments. Alright, so right off the bat, very first point of the game, you're getting ready to loop. I had one other student ever that had the same problem, but watch your left leg as you play this loop. I'll go frame by frame. You're ready, weights on your toes, and then you're looping, and left leg is out of the screen, and now your whole body is going backwards. So, very first point of the game, the reason that backhand loop, actually it lands, but the reason it's not stable is because your leg is moving backwards as you play the loop, instead of kind of the momentum going forwards. That one was better. However, it was still the same problem. It was more subtle, but even here, your leg finishes like, I want to say like in this box, maybe a little in front after this shot. See? So your weight is going backwards as you play the shot instead of coming forwards. I actually had this same problem for a long time. It's a difficult one to fix, but hopefully now that I'm pointing it out, it's something that you can consciously be aware of. Yeah, that has to be hit. It's fine. Backhand was good. The serve return is fine. There's really, especially early in the match, there's nothing wrong with the long. Even at a professional level, you'll occasionally see people just, with a high quality push, challenge the forehand and say, show me what you got. And normally that ball will get looped, and then you'll counter loop or maybe block or something, or they'll miss. But if you push long to the forehand and they push back, this is the easiest ball in the world to loop. This ball has to be hit. It's just a mental thing. The second that you push long to your opponent's forehand, it's either basically the push should now be out of the question. You should not even in the back of your mind have an idea of pushing. It should either be I am going to loop or I am going to counter loop or maybe block. But the push should be out of the question because this ball is just a free winner. You can play here, you can play it back wide. You want to get in the habit of immediately attacking that ball. You win the point, and actually your legs were good on the back end there, but just something to keep in mind. Way too big on the back end though, which I'm sure you know. Like too much flailiness with the arm. It's not stable. Yeah, same. Leg is going back on the back end. Great forehand. Really, really nice shot. Couple issues with this shot. So, firstly, and most importantly, you're not letting the ball bounce on the serve. So, this ball is pretty clearly a long ball. But as you step into play, you almost treat it like a short ball that you're going to flip. So, you step in, the ball's probably going to end up somewhere right here. But now your leg's under the table and you've tied yourself in knots going for this shot. So, already it's really, really uncomfortable because you haven't taken your time. You've rushed to step in for the ball. And the idea you want to have on serve returns is always idea number one, expect the ball long. And then idea number two, or the shot you're reacting to, is the short ball. You never want to expect the ball short and then be caught reacting to a long ball like you're doing right here. And then the second issue, which is more so a symptom of the fact that you stepped in, is you're not rotating you're not using the elbow as a pivot point anymore. You can see your arms already pushing out this way, and then your shoulder is kind of like spinning out, and your paddle finishes right here, instead of the elbow kind of staying fixed and just rotating from that point. So both of those reasons combined are why that shot was so uncomfortable in the miss. And even there, that's a long serve. So you're just not quite picking up. A lot of these serves are long. Good. Yeah, you're rushing. You're rushing. You gotta let the ball bounce. Your number one idea has to be that might have come short. That might have had like a second bounce here or something. But even so, if you had just let the ball bounce and taken your time on it, you would have been fine. Generally speaking, if you're looping the ball, you never take the ball after the top of the bounce. Like it bounces, it comes up, top of the bounce at the latest is where you want to take it. You never want to take it once it's down here. However, on the serve return, if you're pushing, you can either take it right here off the top of the bounce, or you can really let the ball bounce and take it close to the bottom of the bounce again, and that'll actually keep your shot low to the net and stable. And then the added benefit of that is if it drifts long, you'll catch more of them. Great loop. Very nice. Weight's a little too far back. Your feet were better there, but your body, like here it's good. It's kind of forwards. By the time you finish the shot, your back is almost arched backwards. So, see, by the time you finish your shot, you're even though your legs do kind of stay planted, your weight overall is still going backwards, and the tell is that your back is like this instead of forwards like this. That ball has to be hit as well. Tactic against long pips players, and I've talked a lot about technique. A lot of this has also come down to tactics. Even if you were predominantly a backhand player, which I'd say even I, for the most part now, I'm a backhand player, against long pips, you have to be more of a forehand player because you have the opportunity to exploit like you, in a way that you wouldn't normally have against a lot of other styles. And what I mean by that is you could generate so many points because your opponent is quite solid, but when you give the ball to his long pips, he's not twiddling, he's not stepping around and playing his forehand, he's not hitting the ball, he's just putting the pips in the way. So you have the perfect opportunity to exploit by giving him a very, very, very deep float serve with velocity to the pips, and without a doubt, he is going to just give you a loose ball somewhere in this area. And all you have to do 90% of your serves is give him that ball, step around, and rip your forehand full speed. But when you start doing kind of like the top spin so that you're getting a backspin ball and almost treating him like a normal player, you're making the game a lot harder for yourself than you need to. And I have the clip in another video. I'll put it on the screen here as well, just so you can see what I mean. So hopefully you just saw that. That's what I mean by the combination. You just want to exploit that over and over and over and over again until he proves that he can do something about it. And if he does prove he can do something about it, great. Now we can talk about other tactics and more variation. But until that point, against a long pips player, it's just something you should exploit. And right here, this level of spin that you're giving him on the serve is actually good for him, because now his putting the paddle in the way actually generates a fair amount of backspin, and you're sitting here having to play this difficult backhand loop instead of getting the slow floaty ball back that you can step around on and kill. Yeah, finish your form more on the forehand there. Even there, the shot landed, your weight is backwards. Look at your back as you play the shot. And again, your feet are moving backwards, your back is like this. And so, even when it lands, it's not very stable. It's almost like a roll of the dice. Yeah, same, stepping in on a long ball. Let the ball bounce on these serves. Very, very long serve. We'll take it though. Very nice. The only comment there would be make sure you're ready to play more. And there you're just... It's a really hard thing to explain over video, but you're not playing with enough intensity here. It's like... So the shot before this, you're low, you're kind of... Or not this one. I think it's this one. You're playing with an intense mindset the whole point. Like you can just tell you have an intense mindset, and then here it's like you let up. Your mindset almost changes, and then suddenly you want to get back into the attacking mindset, but it's too late. So you take the ball too late and you miss. You have to. I don't want to call it focused because I'm sure you're focused, but you have to work. You have to work hard. And it's like you stopped working there for a second, and so you let the point slip away. Again, I think that's a long serve. I want to say that's long. Yeah, maybe. Either way, you could let the ball bounce a little bit more. And again, there are issues with the technique, but as a rule of thumb, worrying about why a shot is missing in a game is almost... I don't want to say it's not important, because obviously it is, but it's like a second priority. Your number one priority should be thinking, even if, like, you'll get people that say, well, you're just going to play junk table tennis or exploit things to win. That's not real table tennis, but that's literally what table tennis is all about, up to the professional level. And the number one thing on your mind shouldn't be technique. It should be, what can I do to exploit something to get the absolute, not the second best, not the third best, but the best and easiest opportunity to win a point. Because you don't want to have to play difficult points to win. You want to try and win in the easiest way possible, to where you didn't even feel like you broke a sweat. And make people prove that they can challenge you before you start having to play these difficult shots. So the number one thing you could be doing to exploit and just win point after point after point is a long float serve to the pips, and then variations of that serve. A short float serve to the pips, a short float serve wide to the forehand after you've done that, and then maybe 1 in 4, 1 in 5, mix in some spin, and you'll win so many easy points, and you'll actually probably start landing the more difficult shots as well, even if the technique is not perfect, because you won't have as much pressure on yourself. But this is a hard shot. Like, I could give you tons of advice on how to work on the backhand loop and why it's missing and how the technique isn't perfect, which, I mean, it's not bad there. Your weight is still coming backwards, but you don't need that shot. I wouldn't be playing that shot to win this. I would just be out serving him and getting a pop-up and not having to loop underspin. Which, again, I'm not saying you don't need to learn how to loop underspin every time. It's just there are easier ways to win against this player, but you're not focused on finding them. You're just focused on, I want to play a very specific shot, so I'm going to play that shot no matter what, even if it's not the best way to win. Too much arm on the backhand here again. Just, I'm sure you see it in hindsight, but you need to pivot from the elbow and look at your shoulder. It's like, woo, and your paddle's finishing behind your body. Nice, that's fine. That's a very, I will never complain about a miss like that. You were late and didn't quite finish the form, but that's fine. Just overcooked there. Great. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah. Nice. Very nice. That was perfect. Very, very nice. Yeah, you're not thinking. This is there is nothing technique oriented I can say here. Not this one. This one. You serve backspin to the pips. He pushes with the long pips that you told me you know are long pips. And so this ball does not have heavy underspin on it. And you push it. And there's just nothing I can say there other than punch that ball. And you will win the point. It's good. Yeah, you're just making it too difficult for yourself. Shots aside, are your shots perfect? No. But your shots are without a doubt better. I don't know how the ratings again translate, but if your opponent is also around 1200, your shots are clearly much better than his. And so I would say your shots are much higher than your playing level. So that means you're at a point where if you want to climb, then you need to focus less on the shots and the technique themselves for now, and focus more on finding ways to exploit to win easily against players like this until you're at a point where you're really being challenged, and then maybe you can go back to working on the shots and everything. But I don't know if I need to watch much more for this, because it's a lot of the same. I'll watch one more game. Yeah, same, just needs to be hit. Nice. That's a good serve. I don't know why you're playing everything cross court. Nice. Yeah, really, this serve, you don't need to flip with this sort of technique. I'm going to dig through my own matches to see if I can find how I would play a backhand against this type of serve, because really you don't need all this flip. It's actually taking away quality from your return, and it's why you lose there. Okay. That's okay. Nice. And then that should be a forehand. The backhand is too flaily. And your forehand, I mean, your forehand is very stable, so it's definitely something I think you should be going for more. I don't know why you're going for the backhand so much, considering the fact that your movement is quite good, so I know that you have the athleticism to play the forehand. So go for it. Yeah, this is just tilt. This is just being tilted. You're not thinking it anymore. I don't know how high stakes this are, but if you could be winning. It doesn't matter what the game is. If you're tilted like this, you have to take a timeout. Or take your time between games. Slow it down a little bit. But I'll watch a couple more points. I think you might just be tilted. That's good. That was really good. If you are gonna go for the backhand, that one you went for here was more compact, and the technique again wasn't perfect, but that's all you need. You don't need to kill the ball every shot. But in your comments before the match, you said you already were kind of aware of that, which is why I haven't brought it up too much. But yeah, I think I've seen enough. I'm gonna type up your notes and I will be back. All right, I've got my notes for you. I apologize for some of the background noise, but I know I mentioned a lot of things during the match review, but you said you only want specific things that are the most important to work on, so that's what I've done with these notes. I haven't included absolutely everything here, but firstly, really focus on your legs on the backhand loop. Check yourself every single time you play a backhand loop in any situation, whether it's a match, practice, whatever you're doing. Did one of your legs drift back on the backhand? Are you leaning back on the backhand? Second, on serve returns, just simple. Expect long, react to short. You should never be surprised by the long ball and tied up on the loop. And then third, you need to focus more on how to get easy balls and exploit your opponent's weakest areas. If you tunnel vision, you can lose sight of an obvious hole in their game, and sometimes the flashiest way to play is not the most optimal. It's okay to win with them making tons of mistakes and giving you easy balls. And then I do have some drills for you to go along with this. The main thing with these drills is your shots are already above your level, i.e. your shots are way higher than your rating, or like the way you play your shots looks better than 1200, but your serves and your tactics and also your serve receives are not. So we need to spend way more of your time in training working on the serves, way more spin when you add spin, way deeper when you want to go deep, good velocity, and then I also want you to start developing a very long and low floaty serve that has good velocity. And then in your practice, I would also say to try and dedicate a little more of the time at the end to just doing some practice games or matches, because from what I can see, this is what you need more of. So some actual drills. Firstly, you're going to do backhand loop against underspin. I would start this with a serve, so do an underspin serve, they push long to your backhand. You do a backhand loop against under, followed by 2 backhand, 2 forehand, until you can get 10 to 20 in a row consistently without a miss. Focus on, again, not letting one or both of your feet step back on the backhand loop. Once you can do this, you'll do the same, but starting with a forehand loop against backspin, and then again 2-2. And then you do it starting with backhand or forehand, so you don't know whether your opponent, where your opponent is going to push. It's just a random ball for the opening loop. But then again, you'll go to 2 backhand, 2 forehands, not random. And of course, anytime you're doing drills like this, you are ideally looping to your practice partner's backhand. Then next, opponent serves short backspin. You push long to their backhand. They push long to your forehand. You loop down the line. They block to your backhand, and you play a backhand to backhand only point. Once you can do this stable, then again, opponent serves short backspin. You push long to their backhand. They push long to your backhand. Now you loop your backhand cross court. They block down the line to your forehand. You loop cross court again, and then free. Once you can do both of these, do the same drills, like same pattern, but the opponent doesn't tell you whether they're going to push to your forehand or backhand on the opening ball. So that's all I'm going to give you for drills for now. Of course, there's many more drills I could give you. So send me clips of you doing all of these exercises consistently. Spend a lot of time on them. Send me clips of getting at least 20 in a row for all of these. And then I will give you more exercises that implement some more randomness. So that's going to do it for this match review. I hope this was helpful. And I do think you have very good shots. So once we clean up these issues, you will improve quickly. But again, I hope this was helpful to everyone watching at home. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up and leave a comment for the algorithm. My upload schedule is a little different now with my new job, so it'll normally be weekends when I upload instead of Wednesdays. But that's going to do it for this video, and until next time.